It's the Tribune podcast. It's Wednesday the 24th of August. And a lot of things happening, boys, in the news. Eamon McFadden, Declan Kerr with me, John McAteer. And it's coming to the end of summer, isn't it? Autumnal feel, we have a habit of saying at this time of the year. It sounds good. It's probably half through, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see the wee turn in it now.
Big change.
Evenings are shorter.
Yeah, 9 o'clock now, it's nearly pitch dark.
What's the mornings like? Around 6 o'clock, 7? Anybody up at that point?
Still, there's a bit of brightness in the mornings.
That wouldn't really be.
I feel the nights pulling quicker than you feel the later
Yeah.
mornings extend, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. You can see the wee slighting up in the air too, but hopefully
What happens if the lights goes off this winter? Is there going to be curtains with the government?
Power. Lose power. They'll lose power.
Let's hope the power stays on for this podcast.
the lights stay on for this here.
Do you believe that stuff? Do you actually believe there's going to be power cuts? I mean, it's 2022, remember? We have known about this for years and years, and we continue to sort of, I suppose it's a sign of the progress in the country. We're continuing to grow and expand, and the demand for electricity continues to grow year on year, and it's going to grow substantially.
You think the surge that every household must take now between all the electronics and the power and heating and everything that's required?
It's amazing you have your computer equipment sitting probably literally ticking over most of the time.
A lot of people would have all that
I do,
on standby.
But I mean,
I know.
there's more electronic gear now in operation. You take all the stuff that'll be in your study at home. There's lights flashing everywhere on routers and broadband and mobile phones.
How many phone chargers does the average household have? You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe once or twice a day of
easily
tapping them up, and that's only not the tablet, not the laptop.
Well, I have a tendency, because I have a need when I'm at home to have the phone charger connected all the time.
Yeah.
Because I'm never off the bloody thing. That's not because I'm popular or anything, it's because I'm looking for stories and people are ringing me back. But I mean, what happens if the power does go off? If there's going to be rolling power cuts? Imagine Christmas Day. Should we plan to have our dinner the day before, just in case?
Get everything cooked nice and handy early.
Off peak.
Just get a packed lunch.
Order a takeaway.
Don't be making your dinner anyway between 5 and 7 anyway.
Should we be making preparations to plan for power outages?
Well, it looks like we're.
I'm not too bad. I have a generator, so it doesn't matter
Yeah,
that much.
You'd be one of the few, John, I would say, the household generator.
Do you know, years ago, we have a generator now for maybe 35 years, Francis, at home, haven't we? Yeah, I've always had generators because we had rolling power cuts. Without any notification, you could be off for 4, 5, 6 hours. You could be off overnight. And honestly, where I'm living, a fairly windswept part of the Farne Peninsula, power outages are nothing that new to us. The good news is that the ESB service people are on the job very, very quickly. They don't always manage to get power restored overnight, but they'll do their damn best.
They're fairly good, to be honest.
Yeah, they are. They are. They're noticeably good. Their presence in a very isolated site in stormy conditions. I always marvel at that.
Yeah,
but that's your generator would be powered by diesel, John, is it? The price of fuel. Price of fuel is the issue too.
It's quite easy on diesel. It's probably cheaper than electricity.
Maybe the whole.
I've kind of half figured that out. That it's probably cheaper to run a diesel generator. You have very stable power. You'd have to refuel it once a day, but it'd only be taking about half a gallon a day.
Really?
It'd be very cheap.
Very small wee tank on it. That sounds good.
Grand tank. But you have 18 hours out of that. You know.
So that's a consideration I've never thought of. Because even my heating system would be purely electric. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way that a lot of that.
But you know, every heating system, no matter what, there's going to be a pump in it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And if you have a blazing fire on a stove,
you can't pump the water then.
You can't pump the water.
That's true too. You run all your taps and get everything.
You have to
flushed out of it.
You just have to make sure that your heating system has an expansion valve that can handle that. What about mortgages and the increases on a 2,000 mortgage in a household? 200,000 mortgage is going to cost an extra $16.90 a year. Is the government going to pay us for that? Will that be in the budget for us?
I don't think so.
Are there going to be any big surprises in the budget?
Well, that.
I suppose the big surprise is that we're not going to be surprised by what we don't get.
Yeah.
There isn't. I mean, they're talking about a tenner a week for social welfare recipients. And by that point, we'll probably be very close to 10% of an increase in inflation. And the price of coal for households that's totally dependent on it will have just literally gone through the roof. It'll be well over €40 a bag, won't it?
Yeah, and ironically, it'll be a lot of those people caught in that low income that are,
are
the people that are relying on that the most.
Coal is their...
You know what I mean? Because they can manage it on a week-to-week basis rather than...
But that could easily cost the guts of 200 grand a week. I don't know. Anyway, let's put all those worries aside, because Robert Troy has far more concerns than we have.
I say...
Where is this? Is this... There's always this political notion that if you can't put something to bed today, tomorrow could be a bit too late.
Yeah.
This is lingering on and rumbling on, and it's gathering momentum. He has come on with Brian Dobson yesterday.
Yeah, I heard that.
Did he do anything for his situation? Did he clear it?
He was digging a bit.
He dug it, and he turned it into political speak rather than being matter of fact about it. Yeah. And he, the way he took it, he tried to take control of it at the start by kind of not avoiding the question really, but
he's the Minister of State for Trade Promotion, Digital and Company Regulations, and he seems to have had a lot of misfortune, and that there have been so many misunderstandings on his part alone.
Yeah.
I mean, would you not presume that people like him, and this is no reflection on his ability, would they not have an accountant?
Yeah.
Even somebody like us in a very small operation here, you have an accountant, not only in the business but individually. Would TDs, politicians, not have accountants?
Well, you think with the property portfolio that he has, you'd wonder which profession is he in the most? Is it a property owner / landlord, or is it a public representative? So like they're both.
He has a partner, and then some of the buildings that they have is quite complex. And I'm not casting any aspersions on him, because he's a pretty big vote getter. He's probably a man of a fair degree of integrity, given that he gets 16.6% of the vote elected in the first counting, along with Westmeath, and he's a very sure pair of hands. Probably seen to be destined for much bigger things in the Fianna Fáil party.
Relatively young, isn't he?
I suppose the fact...
I think he is relatively young.
40 or so.
Probably, yeah.
And I suppose the fact that the government, in terms of their numbers and everything else, it's a bit of an issue too. They don't want to be, to give him every chance.
But do you think is that continual backing of him?
Yeah.
It's a kind of an unquestioning backing by the leaders.
Yeah.
I know Eamon Ryan came out today and said that he really needs to be kind of explored more thoroughly and go before SIPO and things like that. There.
Do you believe anything they say?
But is that backing of it, John, damaging?
When they come out, I think the first one off the ball was Louis Varadkar.
Yeah.
He was a top man in his department. He had every confidence in him.
Mm-hmm.
Micheál Martin then followed suit by expressing his total confidence. Now Eamon Ryan.
Although I see Eamon Ryan came out just late this afternoon there, maybe the lunchtime news on, that he was saying that he thinks that really it should be turned over to really explore what's the reality of the situation with the relevant authorities, including SIPO. But I
mean, how relevant is SIPO in these kind of situations? They don't have that much clout at all.
No, well,
they have a bit.
Not a lot of enforcement.
But I mean,
exactly.
This county has had experience of SIPO investigations on numerous occasions.
Yeah, so where is it?
So damned if it harm it done anybody. Philip Ryan captures it quite well as the political editor of The Independent, when he says that open book Troy could do with a crash course in reading the rules. Robert Troy says he is an open book, but the controversy surrounding his property declarations shows he's not a great man for reading. And after dodging the media for 2 weeks, Troy eventually faced the music and showed up on RTE Radio 1's News at 1 with Brian Dobson. That didn't seem to resolve the thing to anybody's satisfaction.
I mean, he's talking now about...
Like the fact is, it's back on the front pages of the main papers again today.
Yeah, he's talking now about, he's going to go before the Dáil, will he, when the Dáil resumes, but that's quite a bit away, John.
It's the 4th of September, it's not that far away.
Yeah. Well,
but I mean, until he does go before the Dáil, his whole explanations are going to be called into question, and that momentum is going to build, because the media will be digging and digging and digging, and once you're caught in that loop, regardless of what happens, you're in the headlines for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Because being in the headlines day after day attracts a kind of a negativity that you probably didn't ask for and maybe you don't deserve. But then again, if the man's explanations had the clarity and the substantive content that were required, there wouldn't be any further questioning of it.
I think the Golfgate thing in many ways that the way it kind of was.
It's different to Golfgate here in that, you know, this is a man.
Just the way Golfgate didn't let go of Golfgate.
No.
That's the thing. That's what ultimately led to what happened in the end for like Phil Hogan. That was the not letting go part of it, that people just wouldn't accept that. You know, no, it's not maybe quite the same zone here as that there, but I do see it being. You
know, a minister with 11 properties shouldn't have any issues. Declarations should be right up, bang on the mark by your accountant or whatever. And if that hasn't happened, then there's something seriously wrong. Now, who's at fault there? Who is he blaming? He's blaming others that he elected to others. Yeah. People are not going to buy that, regardless of how truthful that might be. People don't want to buy that.
Yeah, the initial list of amendments, and then there was more. So, I suppose it makes it more
It's a strange enough one.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to go and look at what's on the paper. What about this story on the top of the Tribune? Council forgot to fix Trento Road. A bit absurd, this, isn't it?
Well, I suppose the residents out there are at their end of their tether in terms of issues there in relation to flooding and subsidence that's been going on for many, many years. And I suppose it's coming to a crux. They're even going as far as blocking the road, or certainly calling a public meeting in the very near future, because despite all the lobbying and everything else, there's no funding, no serious funding has been put on the road to address, which is a very busy road.
I was going to say, it would be very busy.
Very busy road.
It's a road that I would use from time to time for family reasons and stuff like that. And, you know, it's not a good road. It's a terrible road. Yeah. Let's be honest. It's like that for years and years. I never remember it being a good road, and I'm going back away over 20, 25, 30 years. But why is there no funding?
That there is no explanation.
We're getting no clear explanations as to why the council can't find funding. Yeah. I mean, are we talking a lot of money here?
I would say you'd be talking a substantial amount of money to, you know, in terms of the flooding issue. There's a section of road there from the Trento Church over to the crossroads, that if the road was raised, you know, it probably would.
How many kilometres would that be roughly?
That would be less. What would be a couple
of miles,
couple of kilometres, or a
couple
of
miles.
miles.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. If that was done, that might help to alleviate, because you have around 30 houses there that a couple of times a year are hemmed in.
And more often.
Probably more often. I haven't been, I suppose, been conservative there in terms of that. But I mean, and there's people there that are essential workers and everything else, and they have to be taken out by tractor, maybe to get a car or get a lift to their work and that sort of stuff. And that's.
I wonder why has the council forgot to fix this Trento Road, because they're very strong politicians with strong voices out there. Okay, Mike McBride is doing a lot of the running on this story, although he's now a councillor in the Letterkenny end of the area. Of course, you have Councillor John O'Donnell, who can work miracles if needs be.
Yeah, and one of the questions we've been asked, one of the residents out there, Kevin.
There's Ian McGarvey and there's Liam Blinny, of course, they're a bit out of that area.
Is the Milford area just been neglected in terms of funding?
But sure, it always was.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. There's reasons for that. The demands in Letterkenny are massive. The two electoral areas, when they're divided, are not compatible, and they're even less compatible when they're brought together, because the length of roads across the Milford area is phenomenal. The length of roads in the Letterkenny area is very, very small. That's not the issue. The road usage and the demands in Letterkenny. Jesus, I was in Letterkenny, was it yesterday? Stuck in traffic in front of St Eunice College and in around that area. It was absolutely mad. And on the railway road then later on in the afternoon. And the strange thing is then when you went into shops and supermarkets, business was quite slow. That was about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was Monday actually. But that development up at St Eunice College, whatever that's going to turn, is that going to be an underpass or a flyover?
No, it's just a one-way system that they're building there around Cathedral Place.
I hope that's the last time they have to touch it for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to move on from that, because we're cutting things a wee bit short today, because we've done very little preparation for this. You have a missing ring story, Eamon, which is
Aye.
quite interesting.
The ring of successes has been heralded here in the paper for the Sheephaven divers.
Yeah.
That's a story that was a quirky one from the Sheephaven Sub-APCO Club. There's a woman called Leslie McCorry from Belfast on holidays down in Port na Blah. She's standing on the pier at Port na Blah on a summer's day out and having a nice time, and she kind of went to wring her hands or shake her hands, and her wedding ring slipped off and bounced on the pier and landed into the tide, and they couldn't find it. And as you know, the fairly deep pier there, and the local Sub-APCO Club, the Sheephaven Sub-APCO Club, were tasked to come in and give them a hand to try and look for it. And they spent the guts of a week down at the water looking for scuba diving and all sorts. But after nearly a week of it been missing, one of the members was coming back from a snorkel, and they had decided there was 4 of them, and they had a quick look to see could they find anything. And lo and behold, a fella by the name of Adam Cassidy, one of the members, a commercial diver by profession, I think, took a skip down, and there, lo and behold, like a needle in a haystack, even worse than a needle in a haystack, a goldie coloured ring lying against the sand on the bottom, and he found the ring, and that was the way. So there's plenty of detail. We spoke
And
to
you could see the happiness in her
delighted.
face there.
And Darren McClintock was very good.
Beautiful fisher.
Yeah,
A beautiful picture, actually.
yeah.
And the ring.
So all returned, and there's plenty more detail on that story too, so you can check it out, and nice
Talk
pictures
to
to go with it.
Declan a little bit about the Seamus Corey Memorial Park.
Yeah, that
at
was the
Elliston.
opening of a new football pitch there, or grounds there on Friday evening. It's in memory of the late Seamus Corey, who was heavily involved in the Elliston Schoolboys football, girls and football club. Also played there and was deeply involved in just the ground maintenance and all at the pitch over a long period of time. Seamus a quiet, unassuming man, but very much part of the local community there, and a huge crowd turned out on Friday evening for that official opening. His wife Fidelma and 2 of his daughters, Orla and Eve, were
lovely.
there. So it was a lovely occasion and a very fitting tribute, and a great and on behalf of
A lasting reminder.
yes, the committee there that came up with the idea and consulted with the family, and so there's a lovely tribute to Seamus there.
They have a way of doing things in Elliston that are,
Yeah.
that appeals.
Yeah,
That's always
There's a lovely bit of sentiment there, isn't it, to kind of do that?
yeah.
beautiful.
Very special.
Ike
occasion.
Arnold on the Donegal shore. Now this wasn't an orgy of some kind, apart from Donegal history and music, and a traditional evening. And there's the local community who have a Facebook page, Donegal History, which they established in 2020, and they decided to have this Ike Arnold, which is kind of a raking house kind of tradition,
Right.
going back about 65 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think all of those in the pictures are actually at 65 years of age yet. Some of them mightn't be very far from it. But they had a fantastic time down on the beach. They had a barbecue there, and you can see the pictures. It's in the Tribune, and our congratulations on that level as well goes to a local man from Fanet, Joseph Gibbons, who has been elevated to director level at Moy, Ireland, where he has worked for 36 years in
Very
fish
good,
farming.
Very good.
After that, we're moving on very quickly to 20 years ago at the Pier Hotel, Declan.
Yeah, 20 years ago, it's hard to believe that the Deeney family, Jim and Anne, it was the final closing up of a business that had been in the family since 1895. So a long history there, and I suppose it was obviously, John, that was a very poignant evening, I suppose, when the Deeney family decided to.
Well, the Pier Hotel was the heartbeat and the life and soul of the entire area around Rathmullen.
Mm-hmm.
Our earliest memories in business would be doing weddings there. Fantastic days. and
Lots of
nights there.
weddings, yeah.
Lots of weddings. But
A big hub
sea
for the
angling,
fishing sector.
a huge hub for the big boats that the big factory boats that came in
Factory
from
boats.
Russia back in the day. A great history. The Pier Hotel is gone. The building is gone. It's a vacant site there, right in the centre of town, and it's seriously missed. Give us a mention, Eamon, on the Mufford Truck Fest.
Just a quick mention out there too, that this weekend coming now on the 27th and 28th, the Northwest Truck Fest will take place. Always a huge event up at the Milford Mart Grounds. This year the proceeds will go to Ellie's Wish to Walk and MS Ireland. That's been running for a good few years now.
Yeah,
It's
and
raised
wish it
a
well.
It's going to be a good
And our
weekend.
lead story is a breaking story. Alarm in Milford as social housing withdrawn. That is an allegation. which the whole town knows about. As more refugees continue to arrive in Donegal, there is alarm and disbelief this week that a significant construction development of social housing in Mulford has been withdrawn, and a group of Ukrainians will take up residence there in the coming weeks. That's according to those hoping to be housed at the location. This is raising fundamental issues. We put questions to Donegal County Council this morning. I know time was limited. They didn't come back to us before our deadline there, at 2 o'clock. In fact, they still haven't come back to us. But that's a story that's going to be repeated elsewhere around the country, because there's a huge scarcity of housing. But the question being asked here by Declan Meehan of the IRD in Mulford has been very much a part of the whole project to rehouse the Ukrainians, is that can you compromise social housing and people on waiting lists for years locally that want to live here, to rear their families and to make their lives here? Should that be compromised to house some other sector of society, let it be Ukrainians or whoever? But anyway, we haven't got answers from the council, but those answers are awaited. In the meantime, that's it for this evening. Thanks for listening.